Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the Elytra stands accused of ruining Minecraft transportation. Anyone here old enough and terminally online enough to remember the early 2010s when dude bros on YouTube would just react to other dude bros on YouTube and debate everything out? No? Anyway, a YouTuber named Base made a video entitled, "Minecraft has a transportation problem." And by way of really quick disclaimer, I think his channel is awesome, I'm happily subbed myself, I think the video I'm disagreeing with is awesome, and I actually agree with like 80% of everything he said in the video I'm reacting to. So anyway, at bottom, Base claims that the Elytra is too strong because it is easily the best form of transportation in the game, and that it debunks other modes of transport. I agree that Elytra is the best form of transportation in the game. I do not agree it fully debunks other modes of transport, and, well, let's stop there and start unpacking things a little further. Early, he claims that Minecraft is a survival sandbox that encourages you to create early infrastructure to survive the dangers of the night, and all of that gets invalidated by the Elytra. I'm sorry, what? You know what fully invalidates the dangers of the night? A bed. And you're going to get your hands on a bed, and a starter base for that matter, a lot sooner than you're going to get your hands on an Elytra. Elytra is not hoverflight. In fact, I don't advise flying in the dark. You risk crashing into a mountain and or landing hot, because with an Elytra, you are landing hot, especially when you don't know where you're landing. It has nothing to do with the dangers of the night, and flying into unknown territory at night is, in my opinion, more dangerous than being fully armored and just walking around. Sure, getting very high altitude and long flying is pretty safe, but even then, Elytra is surprisingly frail, even with Unbreaking 3, so you're going to have to land and repair at some point. He gives a good history lesson on Minecraft, which I recall well. I've been playing since 2009. Comment below how old you were in 2009. He talks about the boat, the minecart, the nether, and horses, and how in the good old days we had some sort of grand balance of transportation methods before the Elytra came and ruined everything. Okay, I have a lot to disagree with there, so I guess I should just start bulleting my own counter arguments. Let's start with minecarts. Without minecart experiments, minecarts suck, period. For the amount of investment in building you have to do both materially and in effort constructing to build a functional rail, you end up with a speed that's so Dogwater that you can match it sprinting with a swiftness potion. This is just a slap in the face, and I never recommend using default settings minecarts, which is why I have like 4 videos explaining how and why we've turned on experiments and used 64 blocks per second, up from the paltry default 8 instead. So default minecarts suck and are pretty much unusable in my opinion. Sure, it's nice to have a passive mode of transport, but that does not make them equal. It means slow AFK transport. Cool, I guess? We'll talk about bases and my own recommended fixes for minecarts later. Horses also just straight up have problems. Unless you're really lucky, you're probably going to tame one with a middling or worse speed stat and jump stat. From there, you can opt to spend a very long time breeding them up to have more optimal speed and jump. This is excruciating, I would know. It was the very first thing I did on my Minecraft server after returning from a 12-year hiatus, not knowing about the Elytra or minecart experiments. That's a week of my life I'm never getting back, man. So anyway, you've got your horse now, and yeah, it's a pretty fast overworld traveler. It struggles in forests or tight spaces or any thicket, and snowy areas are just asking to kill your horse, never-ending story style. So yeah, your horse can die, honestly, pretty easily. And then you'll need to rebreed and go through that rigmarole of getting one again. So horses are only great on wide open outdoor areas, and yeah, the Elytra will just smoke them there. Base is completely right on that point, and the worst thing about horses, and all living mounts for that matter, is that they're a pain in the ass to just realistically use, honestly. If you don't hitch them somewhere, they'll just wander off and get lost. It's one of the main reasons I never really used my horse that much even before I had Elytra. It It was just too much of a headache. I'll discuss that in my solutioning for horses later as well. Let's move on to the Nether, which base concedes is still good, just not as good as the Elytra. And honestly, I think he's way understating the Nether's efficacy here. Now, you can pair the Nether with other modes of travel, including Elytra, to get even more exponential travel distance, point taken, but all the same, the Nether is still very effective and always will be. It's a force multiplier, especially since a lot of players cheese it by accessing the roof and just safely and very easily travel along a long, safe, flat surface. My personal problem with the Nether is that whether you cheese it or not, it's not a very inspiring mode of travel. It's just gross, lifeless red and gray. Are we seriously about to long for this over this? Come on, guys. It's effective, but it isn't pretty. Can't we have our cake and eat it too, with far traveling on a world that's several times larger than real Earth without bleeding from our eyes? Does a man ask for too much? The Nether's potent but gross, and a non-trivial percentage of the community cheeses it anyway. Next, let's talk about boats, and honestly, I think boats are awesome. I mean, they're silly easy to access. You can have one within 30 seconds of launching a fresh world, and you can put it in your pocket for your travels. For your trouble, you get a faster than sprinting mode of travel that entails no food drain, and traveling over oceans is a relatively safe and effective mode of far travel. Add to that they could take a passenger or something like a villager, or hold a storage box, and again fit in your pocket while also working as a portable parachute when you need one. I wouldn't say no if boats got a little bit more juice in the end game and moved faster in the water or something, but I still use boats all the time. Resourceless, easy travel. Then he mentions ice boating, which, well, I hate ice boating with the fire of 1,000 suns. Seriously? Are we seriously going to complain about flying so that we can construct abominable ice bridges all over the damn place? I get that many in the community actually like those things, but for me, they're not fun. They're not attractive. They're just tawdry and weird, and I hate them. Make minecarts faster like I did and forget these things ever existed. Then you won't give yourself vertigo trying to traverse your world, and you can just passively ride. Similar building is necessary, but no gross ice running through your desert. If the Elytra beat up and took ice boating's lunch money, then to that I say good. Though, like I said, faster minecarts would, could, and should do away with them just fine all the same. He next argues that one of the big problems of Elytra is that it's too easy to use. The OGs had to shoot themselves with a bow for propulsion. Like I said, I came back to Minecraft after a 12-year hiatus, so I missed those glory days, but okay. You can miss peppering yourself with arrows mid-flight all day long, I guess. But I don't see how it's fundamentally a problem that it's not a skill check to simply travel from point A to point B in a world, let me remind you, that is 6 times the size of real Earth. I'm old. Is that a boomer take? And I think he and others take for granted just how much investment really does go into getting and maintaining the Elytra. Get to the end, kill the end dragon, find an end city with a ship, and loot the wings. Then set up a gunpowder farm and a villager trade hall with Unbreaking 3 and Mending enchants on sale. Yes, once it's all running, there's not a ton of maintenance, I concede, but let's not forget that we're comparing this to one mode of transport that costs 5 wooden planks, and yet another that many players just cheese with a single ender pearl and the spare materials to make a new nether portal. It is a lot of investment for players to get the spammable flight that stands on trial here. The Elytra is elegantly designed in my opinion. It does suffer pretty easy durability loss, so you can't fly that far without having to make a pit stop and refill it with experience, assuming you have mending. It does require rockets, which either requires a creeper farm, like I built, which takes some effort, or a lot of active creeper hunting to spam those fireworks, plus a sugarcane farm, though those are pretty easy to build in fairness. It's quite easy to seriously hurt yourself with Elytra by crashing headlong into a tree or mountain, or not realizing it was about to break whilst at terminal height. The fact that it's not hover flight are all things that I think keep it engaging, active, and dangerous enough, while yes, still being very effective. You're also a lot more vulnerable when you're not wearing chest armor, I would like to add. I rest my case defending the Elytra, but I actually have a lot of common ground here with Base. I agree with him fundamentally. The more valid modes of transport with valid use cases on offer, the better, healthier, and more fun the game is. And I do agree that the Elytra is much stronger than the other options, except arguably the Nether. And I further agree that if functionality is radically unbalanced, players will not have incentive to use the things that are too inefficient by comparison. I use my Elytra all the time. I use my fast minecarts all the time. I use boats all the time, and I never touch my horse. That communicates something to me. He's right that it's fun to build railways, but it's really hard to find the incentive to do so with the embarrassing default rail speed. His ending section is definitely my favorite in the video. He ends the video thinking of solutions, and I'm happy to play along. He suggests that it would balance the Elytra to make it so that it did not lose durability whilst gliding, but instead took a durability hit every time you rocket boosted. And I guess I disagree that this would be a nerf. Am I the only one who doesn't boost that much when long flying? I'm pretty sure I'd get more mileage out of my Elytra if this change were to happen. So it's not that I'd hate it, I just strongly doubt this would change anything fundamentally. Here's my hot take. The Elytra is completely fine. The Elytra is by far the most fun, most smartly, and most elegantly designed transportation method in this entire game. Don't touch the Elytra, it's glorious and it's not the problem. The problem is that the other modes of transportation suck and need improvement. We'll wrap up this video by talking about how I think you might balance Minecraft transport. Speed up minecarts. Seriously. 64 blocks per second max speed is what we use in our server, and it feels great, and it's absolutely better and more efficient than Elytra travel, while not being dumb fast. I've tried 1,000 blocks per second, it gets crazy. At this speed, it's fair, it's effective, and I use it every single day thanks to my server having it tuned as such. I really like Base's idea of adding copper-powered rails so you could set different speeds, with those being slower and gold being the faster boosters. Make some sort of craftable item that lets you store your horse in the equivalent of a Pokeball so that you can carry it in your pocket. I'm not joking. Ark did this with cryopods, and it was one of the best additions that game ever made. Being able to pocket your horse would solve a lot of its problems. Make it so that you don't take damage while riding a horse in tight spaces. If your horse's head could fit under, so should yours if your character just smartly crouched behind the horse. The Fiat is fine, this is fine, and it wouldn't break anything and just make the horse more usable. Allow horses to swim while carrying you. Add a hard to find saddle enchant that allows horses to walk on water. Base's idea of adding a level up system to horses to cut the ridiculous breeding out is an excellent idea. Sign me up. Add a hard to find enchant that speeds up boats. They need to be faster than horses in the water in this paradigm. The Nether is fine. It improves as other methods of transport improve anyway. Kill ice boating with fire. It would happen organically if you fixed minecarts anyway. And while he didn't mention happy guests, I'd just say speed them up a little bit too. I do get that the floating platform is strong, but their speed is just punishingly obnoxious. Do not make them pocketable, and that alone would be a fair enough counterweight. They'll still be much slower than the Elytra, and the Elytra will still be a better catch-all flight option. That's all I got, guys. Base's video is linked in the description. I think it's an excellent video, and I share his spirit in wanting to improve Minecraft's transportation balance. I just think in a world as huge and as vast as Minecraft, nerfing the best mode of transport shouldn't be where we're looking. I think the Elytra is awesome, and the other, older methods of transport need more love. This is Victus, signing off.